Good morning. Thank you for joining me for my daily Come Follow Me study of the Book of Mormon. Today is Thursday the 1st of August. Oh, I didn't flip my calendar. I did everything but that. July, August, yes. And we're going to start with the daily reflection on the Book of Mormon. Therefore God gave unto them commandments after having made known unto them the plan of redemption, that they should not do evil, the penalty thereof being a second death, for the works of justice could not be destroyed according to the supreme goodness of God. Alma chapter 12, verse 32. The gospel of Jesus Christ is not merely a system of ethics, although it certainly embodies rules of proper conduct and behavior. The plan of salvation is foundational to all that we do and refrain from doing. We teach the principles of salvation and then may speak of proper conduct. Ethics must be grounded in doctrine if they are to escape the moral erosion of a decaying society. True doctrine understood changes attitudes and behaviors. Elder Boyd K. Packer observed, "The study of the doctrines of the gospel will improve behavior quicker than the study of behavior will improve behavior." That is why we stress so forcefully the study of the doctrines of the gospel. Ours must be a confidence in the power of the Word of God to touch and transform the sons and daughters of God, a power greater than the sword or anything else. Okay. Today is Alma chapter 37, verses 1 through 23. In this, Alma is entrusting the record to Helaman. He's handing it over. He's giving instructions. He's, saying why we've kept this record, or, anyways. That's what's happening in these first 23 verses. And we're done with obedience, and we're into trust. And as I've been preparing to look for trust verses, I'm like, trust is basically the same thing as faith. Why would I do faith and trust? That makes no sense to me. But I did it for a reason. I don't know what that reason is yet, but so I was looking for a trust verse, and in these first 23 verses, it uses the word entrust. It says that, first one is verse 1, "And now, my son Helaman, I command you to take the records which have been entrusted with me." And then verse 14, "And now remember, my son, that God has entrusted you with these things, which are sacred, which he has kept sacred, and also which he will keep and preserve for a wise purpose in him, that he may show forth his power unto future generations." And I'm like, okay, well, what's the difference between trust and faith? So I go to the Bible, Guide to the Scriptures, and type it in the phone. And it says that trust is to rely upon or place confidence in someone or something. I'm like, okay. Then I click, and it says, see also confidence, faith. Click on faith, and faith says to place confidence in something. I was like, okay, so they're basically the same. But I think if we try to really dig deep into as we try to dig into these scriptures this month and try to see how trust differs from faith, I think we'll figure it out as we go along. But I chose verse 14 for my trust verse because the Lord is trusting Helaman. He has confidence in Helaman. Yes, he is all-knowing. Yes, he is, all-knowing, all-seeing. Beginning and end are the same with him. He knows the end of the story before it begins. He knows Helaman. He knows him, and he trusts him with it. It's not that he has blind faith or he takes a leap of faith with Helaman, he knows him, and therefore he trusts him with this sacred duty. So that's the verse I chose. I didn't write it down, sorry. Can we be people that the Lord trusts? Okay. Let's get into the commentary. I'm running a little bit behind because I wanted to sleep. It is 6:30. Okay. Okay. We can talk about enlarging the memory of the people, convincing many of the error of their ways, which comes from verse 8. This is a splendid and succinct formulation for the purpose of the Holy Scriptures and the benefits that come from pondering and applying the same. Enlarging the memory, convincing, bringing to the knowledge of God what a marvelous lesson Alma has for his son Helaman. We are doing... Excuse me. Are we doing the same for our own children? Are we showing them how the Scriptures can give them greater capacity to understand the mighty design of God, guard them from error, and lead them along the divine pathway to salvation? And then we're going to talk about verse 23, which he says, unto my servant Gazalam. When Alma counsels Helaman concerning the care and management of the sacred records and associated objects, he conveys unto him the interpreters, or Urim and Thummim, as the divine means for revealing the history of past peoples. Gazalam appears to refer to a seer or a servant of God, commissioned to apply the sacred means of interpretation in order to expose the wickedness of past societies and nations, and thus provide a warning to future generations to live according to the principles of the gospel. Helaman is commanded, as he applies such divine interpretation, not to bring to light the secret signs, oaths, plans, and combinations of degraded societies, but to use the fate of such societies as a compelling motivation to do good and to exercise an everlasting hatred against sin and iniquity. It is interesting that the prophet Joseph Smith was referred to by names Gazalam or Enoch in some of the early revelations in order to keep his identity secret from his enemies at the time. Elder Bruce R. McConkie postulates that Alma's reference to Gazalam may be a variant of the name Gazalam. It's the same word, just an A instead of an E, referring to Joseph Smith, who was instrumental in bringing forth a portion of the Jaredite record as abridged by Moroni, or that Alma was referring to a title of one who has the gift of translating, or perhaps to an actual prophet among the Nephites. When I read that, I was like, who's Gazalam? What kind of a name is Gazalam? But anyways. Okay. Daily reading on prayer. Day 214. We need to listen to receive answers. Lindsay R. Curtis. A second problem is that we don't listen. Our senses are constantly bombarded with other information. We kneel to pray and feel the floor under our knees or our arms folded across our chest, A truck rumbles past the house, rain hits the window pane, the clock ticks loudly in the corner. No wonder it's difficult to find enough spiritual quiet to hear the things the Lord is trying to tell us. But we can make things even worse by failing to make a real effort to listen. We utter our prayers even with feeling and sincerity, and then immediately rise and jump into bed, rise and run to work, rise and converse with a family member about non-related concerns. How can the Lord get through to us under those conditions? It takes practice and patience to learn how to receive spiritual communications in the best of circumstances. Again, the difficulty is not with the Lord, it is with us. I believe He will give us answers fairly freely, but if we are not listening, or if we are not in tune, we may not receive or understand the answer. The result is that we may think the Lord is not even listening, when the real problem is that we are not listening. We can learn to listen by trying to rid ourselves of outside interference as well as inside interference, and by taking the time just to feel the Spirit. Okay. That was Alma chapter 37, verses 1 through 23, and tomorrow we do verses 24 through 47. Tomorrow's Friday. Let's end it with a read it, do it. It is August 1st. Yeah, August. Alma chapter 37, verses 10 through 20, they highlight verse 14. God has entrusted Helaman with things that are sacred. What sacred things has He entrusted you with? Take care of them. I like that one. I enjoy that one. Bing. All right. That is all for today. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.